Hey guys, it's been a while since I've sat down with you and talked to you about the latest developments on the iPhone 8, so I wanted to do that. Right now there's a lot of conflicting reports, a lot of misinformation that I wanted to clear up and bring together in one video, let you know what's going on right now with the iPhone 8 or whatever it'll be called, all in one video. So I've been busy focusing on the concepts, but there's a lot of rumors and actual leaks I wanted to share with you. Now, the very first thing that we've learned in the past week is what the next iPhone, this year's 2017 iPhone, may be called. Because, on one hand, iPhone 8 just seems too sudden. I mean, why would Apple release two generations at once, 7S and iPhone 8? It does make sense, better than calling it the iPhone 8 Pro and then just the iPhone 8, or the iPhone 7S and 7SS, or some ridiculous thing like that. Basically, there's a new name that was actually leaked by Mac Atakara, or rather than leaked, rumored, that basically settles this whole matter. What it'll be called is the iPhone Edition. Just that, the iPhone Edition. Much like the Apple Watch Edition, there's the Apple Watch Sport, and then the Apple Watch Edition. It's a little bit redundant, but iPhone Edition does sort of get the point through. It's an exclusive model that'll have all of those crazy cool things you won't be able to get on the standard 7S and 7S Plus, which, by the way, that will still be happening, and I'll talk more about that one because I don't usually talk about that. But the iPhone Edition, the higher-end model, will be happening, and that's what it'll be called. What do you guys think about that? I mean, it's kind of cool. I think it would work. It would be more of an exclusive model, definitely explaining the $1,000 price tag, since you do have to pay way more to get this edition. But let me know. I mean, we even rendered it what it would look like on the iPhone. I think it's kind of cool. So I wanted to clear this lineup for you. Since the beginning of making these iPhone 8 rumors, we're constantly refining, learning more precisely what these phones will be, what they will do, and everything like that. So it's good to go ahead and recap what we know so far. Obviously, the iPhone Edition with that premium 5.8-inch display, very small phone, but it's going to be more of a luxury high-end item with a lot of features not everybody necessarily needs, but they'll be there if you want to spend over $1,000 for them. Of course, we will have the iPhone 7S and iPhone 7S Plus. These will be more of the refreshed iPhone 7 model, very similar design, metal body, no wireless charging, anything like that. It'll still have an LCD display, no cool fancy organic LED diodes in there, just the basic display, basic design, but it will be faster, of course. It's unknown how much internals it'll share with the iPhone 8 as far as speed and processor and RAM goes, but it'll still be a very good upgrade from the iPhone 7. So that's pretty much the lineup right there. The iPhone 7S is probably going to be most people's choice. Here's just a little updated design we did on it. There's really not much you can do with this design. We were thinking Apple could slim the camera down, make it a little bit more flat to match earlier models of the iPhone so it doesn't protrude as much. Also, to clean the design up a little bit, give it a jet black color, maybe even some new color options, but overall it'll still be the basic design. Now, a new report from Nikkei, which was one of the only analyst companies or websites that didn't believe Apple would be releasing a 5.8-inch iPhone 8, is now confirming that they do believe this is going to be the case. So literally everybody is on board right now for Apple releasing a larger 5.8-inch model. If you had any doubt about that happening, you shouldn't, because everybody seems to agree that it will be happening. The premium edition will have a 5.8-inch display. Of course, we know Apple spends an insane amount on R&D developing these new iPhones, but now a new report from Mac Atakara is really putting into perspective how much testing they're doing for the iPhone 8. They're actually testing a model with and without the organic LED display, one with LCD. They're testing the actual materials. They're testing glass, aluminum, even a ceramic white option. So something that Apple currently offers only for the Apple Watch, the design we rendered ours in, might actually be happening since they seem to be testing a model with this design. That would be super, super cool. They are also testing a model with and without the home button. I find it highly unlikely Apple would do that, since I'm going to talk a little bit more about the home button tech that Apple is developing later in this video. Why would they still keep a home button on this one? It's highly unlikely. Mac Atakara is saying that the only 3 features that they can confirm will be happening on the iPhone Edition 8. Man, it's going to take a while to get used to this naming scheme, are wireless charging, a 5-inch display, and dual cameras on the rear. And by 5-inch, I mean 5.5-inch of usable space, and the rest being the touch area, the function area for the home button and other keys. And here's something I wasn't actually too happy to learn about. The lineup, the 7S, 7S Plus, and iPhone Edition 8, oh my gosh, iPhone Edition will not be happening all at once. The iPhone Edition may launch actually several months after the iPhone 7S and 7S Plus. So at the event, you might be able to pre-order it, but you won't be able to get it until much, much later. So we'll pretty much have the 7S and 7S Plus at launch available. And there's two completely different reasons as to why this thing is going to be delayed past September. From one source, they're saying that it's the 3D modeling camera, the front-facing one. Apple is developing this technology and it's not easy, and they want to perfect it, make sure it is ready to go, which definitely won't happen by September. Also, production of this camera, it's going to be very slow, so Apple will need several months after in order to develop these modules in time. Another reason from Digitimes, they're saying that it's the custom Touch ID sensor or the layer in the display that Apple will be using. It's not going to be an easy process to manufacture, and Apple wants to perfect this. They're definitely going to delay the release of the iPhone 8 past the 7S and 7S Plus, so don't be expecting to get that at launch. As for actual timing, Digitimes is saying November at the earliest is when this phone could become available, maybe even early 2018. And a recent patent filing from Apple is confirming that they are working very hard on this 3D front-facing camera. This is actually going to be the iPhone edition's one of its biggest selling points. The patent describes a multi-mirror scanning depth engine that measures the amount of time it takes for light to bounce off of an object and come back into the sensor in order to tell the difference and map your face correctly. So Apple is hard at work at this camera, and I'm hoping it's going to be a seller. It's going to be used in conjunction with the iris scanner and Touch ID in order to make your device much more secure. Now, we do know that the next iPhone will have an embedded Touch ID sensor in the display. Super cool, but Apple doesn't seem to want to go with either Qualcomm's Sense ID or Synaptic's Natural ID. They want to develop their own in-house solution. So instead of going with these companies and having to pay licensing fees, my guess is that Apple wants to save at least a little bit of money and make this sensor even better than them by developing it by themselves. So this new technology is basically going to be an additional layer in the display that's going to use ultrasound waves to scan the ridges of your fingerprint, 3D mapping it, making it even more secure and better than a capacitive standard Touch ID sensor that are being used right now on the iPhone 7 and below. So this is really cool that Apple is developing it in-house, and there's actually a new patent that confirms that this is the case. Apple was just awarded a patent for electronic device including finger biometric sensor carried by a touch display and related method, basically confirming that Apple is developing their own in-house version of this technology. And in the patent notes, it's very interesting that it notes this feature will save you time. Not only will it make your device more secure, it'll actually save you time by removing one step. One step being you have to press the home button or the power button to turn your device on first, and then scan your finger through the home button. Now you just put your finger on the display and it will unlock. I think that's really cool, and definitely confirms that tap to wake, that feature we talked about earlier that would be exclusive to the iPhone edition, is going to be happening. So just, hold your finger on the display on a notification or something, immediately your phone unlocks using this new technology. It's detailed that this area would only be on the bottom of the phone, just like what we talked about earlier with the function area. This is an area where your fingerprint would be able to be used on the display, so it's not likely to be everywhere on the display, just on the bottom. Still good enough for me. And USB-C. I wanted to clear something up with you about that because in my last video we talked about it. Wall Street Journal said that USB-C would be happening. Someone said it wouldn't, and now there's a new report from Ming-Chi Kuo, the guy I trust the absolute most, well, everyone does. He's saying that USB-C will and will not be happening. Will not be happening on the iPhone, will be happening in the box. So it's likely instead of actually changing Lightning to USB-C, Apple would just rather include an adapter or a cable, which he said the cable is happening, a Lightning to USB-C cable in the box, thus saving themselves money with licensing fees and keeping their own standard, selling their own accessories, not having to change this standard again. And a feature Ming-Chi Kuo also detailed in this report is fast charge, something that will be happening on all 3 iPhone models later this year. I'm very happy about this. It's a feature that almost all competitors have and it's awesome, but we don't have it on the iPhone. It takes forever to charge your phone in comparison, and now we're going to be getting it. Apple is developing this technology in collaboration with Cypress, and they're going to be using it on all 3, which is the best part, so it won't be an exclusive feature. Interesting to note though is that the iPhone 8 with its 2-cell battery, the L-shaped we talked about earlier, is going to charge faster as a result of the 2 cells versus the standard 1 cell on the 7S and 7S Plus. So if you want your phone to really charge fast, you're probably going to want to go for the iPhone edition. And we've learned some very interesting facts about upcoming GPUs in future iterations of the iPhone. This is Furion VR. It's a chip basically derived from the platform that iPhone uses right now, all new technology that has an improvement of 70 to 90% in GPU tasks. That means 35% better shader rate and an 80% better fill rate. Basically, what that means is pixels are filled faster, meaning a higher resolution display like 4K would be supported using this GPU. So for future versions of the iPhone, Definitely not now. This would be a huge improvement in GPU performance, lays the groundwork in order to get those high resolution displays that we don't necessarily have right now. And a new supply chain report is confirming that every iPhone in 2019 and forward is going to have an OLED display. While this year being an exclusive feature on the iPhone edition, every iPhone is going to have it after 2019. I mean, LCD displays, they've reached their limits. There's not much you can do to improve them anymore. With organic LED displays, there's still room for improvements, even past that to micro LEDs, so Apple is definitely going to make this a standard. And to wrap this up, I actually made this diagram. I wanted to show you why the iPhone 8 will be so expensive. I keep seeing comments that are saying, this is outrageous, it's crazy, why would this phone cost so much? But this is going to be a luxury item. Again, because the Apple Watch costs over double, triple the Watch Edition, even the ceramic one, over the standard version, is because, it's just exclusive. You're paying more, but you're getting a nicer product. It's going to be higher quality materials and all that. So this chart basically shows you why it's going to be more expensive. You've got wireless charging, an all-glass design, an L-shaped battery that's going to be 2-cell. It's going to be harder to develop. The embedded Touch ID sensor Apple's going to have to put in this phone. Second generation 3D Touch film layer, a 10nm A11 chip. This is a completely new process that's going to be very expensive at first in the iPhone. After this, they're going to refine it. It'll be slightly cheaper. There's a 3D selfie camera that is projected to cost a lot more versus a standard one. The 1 gigabit modem with Intel, also the organic LED display, ceramic material, which is a possibility. The stacked logic board is going to be more in terms of production costs. Improved water rating, will have more seals, better glue, which all adds up. It's cents, even dollars, but man, when it comes to reselling to a consumer, profit margins are everything. Also, stainless steel frame is a possibility on the iPhone 8 model. You've got more capacitive buttons. It was rumored that volume and power buttons might be going to capacitive, which do cost more than a standard button. Also, the Taptic Engine Generation 2, because there's going to be no home button, Apple wants to make sure you can really feel that feedback and emulate a home button. They're going to want to add either another sensor or a stronger one in the new iPhone. And of course, the iris scanner. That stuff is not cheap to add to a phone. All of these features are going to add up, so it definitely will be over $1,000. It's not even crazy to think about that. With all of these new features, it really does add up. Anyways, guys, that's the latest on the iPhone edition, iPhone 8, 7S, and 7S Plus. Hope you guys enjoyed this little update. Stay tuned for more as more details emerge about these upcoming devices. Peace.